Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another early morning book review. It is Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path, and before we do anything else, let me get this out of the way. Give me a like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. You know how much I love the comments, so leave me a comment. But now that we've got all the business part out of the way, let's get into our early morning book review. And our early morning book review today is Cherry Ames' Dude Ranch Nurse. And it only got 2 stars from me, and I will tell you why. We'll go into why. First off, it was not written by Helen Wells, and I knew that going in. It's written by a lady by the name of Julie Tatham. And I looked her up, and Julie Tatham apparently wrote the Trixie Belden series. And I have a Trixie Belden right here, but it says very clearly that it was written by Catherine Kenny. So I don't know how all this works out. I would need a genealogy sheet like they need for the royal family and to figure out how all this works out, because I know back in the day, if you had a popular series and the author for whatever reason couldn't continue it, then they would just throw in another writer. And you can really tell that this woman who wrote this book has no medical training whatsoever, because there's very little nursing in it. So in this book, Cherry Ames, well, prior to this book starting, Cherry Ames was a cruise ship nurse. She was a nurse on a boat called the Juliet, and I don't have that book, Cruise Ship Nurse. But apparently she was on there, and while she was on the boat, she caught the eye of a particular doctor, and they're always young and good looking, these doctors, and they were always young and good looking, and he writes to her while she's at home. This is during the winter, and he says, come to Tucson, Arizona, where there are these asthmatics, and I help out at this dude ranch for these asthmatics, and I want you to come, and I want you to be the nurse for me, and everything like that. So first off, it begs the question, why was there no nurse there before? Well, because the asthmatics are such a pain that no nurse stays, especially these teenage twins by the name of Julie and Johnny. And they're these twins, and they are the daughters, or the twins, of a Hollywood starlet who doesn't visit them that much, and they're very angry at her, which I would be too. If I was shipped off to a dude ranch for asthma every winter and my mom never visited, I'd be mad as hell too. Also, apparently back in the day when you were an asthmatic, there was nothing really to treat you. You just had to sort of go through the asthma attack without any real medicine, because no medicine is really talked about in here. There's nothing really. He talks one time about giving, the doctor talks one time about giving an injection. And other than that, that's it. That's about all the medicine we get in there. So it wasn't very good. It was more of a mystery, and it wasn't a good mystery. We have the character of Patty, who is the maid, whose father died and left her a nest egg. But he didn't just tell her where it was, he left her all these clues. And then he built this weird structure in the desert called the castle. And, sorry, I got a hair in there. Called the castle, and they're always going to the castle to look for clues. Why couldn't he have just told her where it was, or put it in a bank? I mean, we do eventually find the nest egg, and it actually looks like an egg. It's an emerald. It's a big emerald and everything, and I blew the ending for you, but that's okay. You don't need to read it. It's not that good. I would not wish the 2 stars on you. Another point of contention I had is Mrs. Blair, who is this horrible patient. She's very mean. This illustration right here, where Mrs. Blair is saying, I never told anyone about the check, she shouted at Cherry Ames, that's never in the book at all. At all. It never comes up. So I don't know why it's even there. It was disappointing. It was a disappointing read. There wasn't much medicine in it. The teenagers are just horrible. I mean, they're just absolutely horrible. Like, they spray perfume all over her uniforms. because asthmatics are absolutely not supposed to be around perfume, so they spray it all over her uniforms. They hide her mail. So she thinks, you know, she's writing letters and she's getting letters back, but she thinks her mom's not even writing her and everything like that. There's a phone. Why doesn't she call her mom? She needs these dresses because the lady who runs the Druid Ranch apparently insists on every woman wearing an evening gown at the dinner table. And so she writes to her mom in order to get these evening dresses, and the evening dresses never come. The box with the evening dresses never comes, but they have a phone. So why doesn't she call and say, where are my evening dresses? And then she could have figured that out. She was like, oh, I don't know why my mom's not answering. I'm suddenly very stupid. That's not Cherry. Cherry would have gotten on the phone. Cherry would have driven into town if the phone wasn't working and made a call. Cherry would have been a lot more adept at navigating her surroundings than this Cherry Ames is. This one was slapdash together. Our villain looks like Ichabod Crane, and I know that because every time he's brought up, it's mentioned that he looks like Ichabod Crane, which to me is very lazy writing. Don't just say you look like someone. Tell him how. And is he lanky? Does he have a big Adam's apple? Does he have, you know, dark hair? We get a description of him one time, and the rest of the time, Ichabod Crane, Ichabod Crane, Ichabod Crane. So didn't like that. You could tell it wasn't written by anyone with a medical background, which is what I look for in these books. I look for the medical part of Cherry Ames. That's what's so interesting to me. That's why I'm reading it. Very briefly this morning, I read through a couple of Goodreads reviews. People that left 2 stars, not people that left 5 stars and everything like that, but people left 2 stars because I left 2 stars. And I wanted to know what their contention with it was. I don't think they read it at all because it was all these very general reviews. I think that happens on Goodreads a lot. They just kind of pick up the book and they start reading it. I would be surprised if they even finished it because it's very general. It doesn't talk a lot about what happened in the story or anything. And what happened in this story was not much. There's a cowboy that's interested in her, that would have been interesting to see how that relationship would have blossomed and everything, but Cherry just blows it off. After she finds out that sorry, my cat is eating. After she finds out that the twins are doing all these horrible things to her and they apologize, she's just like, oh, it's fine. I understand. You were upset. You were asthmatic. I would have been furious. I mean, Cherry's got real emotions. This is a cardboard cutout of Cherry. This was not really Cherry. Just so you know that. I was upset about it. All right. I'm not going to be upset about it anymore. Take a deep breath in. Blow it out. So, I got rooked on that one. I'm glad I have it for my collection because it's important to have for my collection. It's important to show how the writing shifted after Helen Wells stopped writing it. So I'm glad I have it for my collection. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I'm going to probably do a video with some choices on there. I'm interested in episode 13, which is more of a modern book, but I don't know. I mean, I'm still into the vintage, and I've got a lot of Emily Loring that I found, and a new Mary Roberts Reinhardt that I found. It's supposed to be one of her best, The Wall, so I may read that one, but it'll take me forever and a day because it's like ant font. Little tiny ants, not my mother's sister. It's the laugh of the hysteric. All right, well, I better get going. It's time for me to get up and go hit the salt mines and leave me a comment. I love the comments. I miss you all, and I will check you later. Oh, and don't read this one. Don't read Dude Ranch Nurse. Not a good one. I don't recommend it. So I will check you later. Thanks for watching.